In 2025, this autonomous Danish territory holds an election that will redefine its trajectory, politically, economically, and environmentally. The stakes are unprecedented. U.S. President Donald Trump's audacious bid to purchase Greenland, the island's strategic value has only intensified.
And I also have a message tonight for the incredible people of Greenland. We strongly support your right to determine your own future. And if you choose, we welcome you into the United States of America. We need Greenland for national security and even international security, and we're working with everybody involved to try and get it. But we need it really for international world security, and I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it. We will keep you safe. We will make you rich, and together we will take Greenland to heights like you have never thought possible before. It's a very small population, but very, very large piece of land and very, very important for military security.
Dear President Trump, listen very carefully. Greenland has been part of the Danish kingdom for 800 years. It's an integrated part of our country. It is not for sale. Let me put it in words you might understand. Mr. Trump, f*** off.
Greenland, the world's largest island, is a land of paradox. Its 56,000 people inhabit a territory rich in rare earth minerals, uranium, and pristine Arctic ecosystems, yet face a fragile economy reliant on Denmark's annual $600 million subsidy. Melting ice caps, great power competition, and the global green energy transition have thrust Greenland into a geopolitical storm. This election is not merely about local governance. It is a referendum on sovereignty, survival, and the price of progress. Greenland's quest for self-determination has been centuries in the making. Colonized by Denmark in the 18th century, it gained autonomy in 1979 and further self-rule in 2009, retaining control over resources while Denmark manages defense and foreign affairs. But the Trump administration's 2019 proposal to buy Greenland, dismissed as absurd by Denmark, unintentionally accelerated global interest. By 2021, Greenland's election pivoted on a controversial Chinese-backed rare earth mining project, which voters rejected over environmental fears. That decision cost Greenland billions in potential revenue, but cemented its reputation as a climate-conscious nation. Now, in 2025, the calculus has shifted. The US, China, and the EU are locked in a race for critical minerals, essential for renewables and tech. Greenland's Disco Island holds one of the world's largest undeveloped rare earth deposits, and multinational corporations are circling.
Do you know how to reach her at all?
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. The end result was actually the division between the parties regarding uranium. So we have the election for the parliament called the Inatsisartut. There are 31 members sitting in the parliament. And because of the attention now, growing attention from the world, I mean from Trump's statements and the pressure also a little bit towards the Danish state and so on, the independence question has popped up again as a major theme in the election campaign. So independence is one of the issues, but also internal matters like the economy, social affairs, education, and tourism, and also mining has become also one of the
Meanwhile,
the big issues.
Arctic
as well.
ice loss has accelerated, opening shipping lanes that could slash global trade routes by 40%. Greenland's location, straddling the Arctic and Atlantic, makes it a linchpin for military and commercial dominance.
I think it is Trump's statements to he wants to take over Greenland and the control. This was also something he was stating in the first period he was as a president, but then everyone saw it as a joke. It was not taken seriously. But now he has been repeatedly this kind of statement several times. So it seems that it is a little more kind of certain or kind of threatening right now that he actually wants to control Greenland somehow. Some impact on the future development, especially between Greenland and Denmark. Actually, now the Greenlandic politicians has a kind of a momentum to actually maybe negotiate more favorable agreements with Denmark, since you have the U.S. Trump administration also pressuring Denmark in a way, since they want to take over Greenland and so on. So I think there might be a new agreement on the table for the whole realm of Denmark. We might see some kind of free association agreement that can become discussed for the future development.
The ruling Siumut party, advocating gradual independence, faces fierce opposition from Inuit Ataqatigiit, IA, which prioritizes environmental protections. Greenland's path to full sovereignty hinges on replacing Danish subsidies, which account for 20% of its GDP. Pro-independence leaders argue mining revenues could fill this gap, but critics warn of a resource curse. As one nuke economist notes, even if we tap every mine, Greenland's population is too small to manage the windfall without foreign expertise and influence. Greenland's ice sheet, now losing 30% more mass annually than in 2020, threatens coastal communities. Yet fishing, its primary industry, is collapsing as warming waters drive cod stocks northward. Voters are torn. A proposed EU-funded lithium mine promises 3,000 jobs, but would require a deepwater port near UNESCO-protected fjords. We can't eat idealism, argues a fisherman in Ilulissat. If the fish are gone, what's left? Denmark remains Greenland's formal protector, but US and Chinese overtures loom. In 2023, the US reopened its Cold War-era Thule Air Base, while China's Polar Silk Road investments have funded Greenlandic research stations. The EU, wary of China's foothold, has dangled grants for sustainable mining. As a Danish diplomat concedes, Greenland can't escape great power politics. Their choice is whether to leverage it or be consumed by it. Greenland's decision will ripple far beyond the Arctic. If it licenses large-scale mining, global supply chains for electric vehicles and semiconductors could stabilize, but at an ecological cost. Conversely, strict environmental curbs would please climate activists, but leave Greenland dependent on Denmark and vulnerable to backlash from voters seeking self-sufficiency. Independence would also force NATO to recalibrate. A fully sovereign Greenland could theoretically evict US bases, weakening Arctic defense against Russian militarization. Behind the geopolitics are Greenland's people. Youth unemployment hovers at 15%, spurring an exodus to Denmark. In Qaqortoq, a teacher laments, "Our kids see no future here unless something changes." Yet, Inuit traditions, hunting, communal fishing, clash with industrialization. Elders warn of cultural erosion, while tech-savvy millennials demand broadband and startups. "We're not a museum," says a nuke entrepreneur, "but we can't sell our soul to survive." As polls open, Greenland stands at a historic inflection point. Will it embrace mining to fund independence, risking environmental and cultural harm, or prioritize sustainability, extending its reliance on Denmark and foreign aid? The 2025 election is a microcosm of a global dilemma. How do nations balance progress and preservation in a warming, resource-hungry world? Greenland's voters are not just choosing leaders. They are deciding whether their homeland becomes a sovereign actor, a climate guardian, or a pawn in a new Arctic game. The outcome will echo across boardrooms, military headquarters, and climate summits. For a nation often seen as a land of ice, the heat is on.